All right, I contemplated as I stared at myself in this video whether I should do this or not, but I just feel like I need to talk. And I know that there's some people out there that will listen and probably totally resonate. So it appears that one of the unintended souvenirs that I took home with me from New York City was COVID. Maybe it was from the airplane. I think it was from the airplane. Somebody was like hacking like crazy a seat or two behind us. I kept looking to see who it was, to see if they were wearing a mask. They sounded horrible. I felt upset that they were just like kept going. I'm like, why did you get on this flight when there's so many people on this flight? I also felt sorry for them because they sounded miserable. I covered myself with my coat because I knew I was coming back to a very busy schedule. I was going straight to work on Tuesday from the airport. I knew that Tim's body is extremely vulnerable, and COVID, could literally be a death sentence for someone with cancer. And so, yeah. Anyways, this morning at work, I had a scratchy throat and a headache. I had a headache last night. I couldn't sleep very well at all last night, but it's a headache that I've gotten before. So kind of just thought I had a kink in my neck. And then the scratchy throat that was kind of emerging this morning made me a little suspicious. So I decided to test myself, and lo and behold, it tested positive. And yeah, so I came home, and I'm here working from home till middle of next week. I felt fine yesterday, just a little bit under the weather. Tonight I feel like crap. My right eye, like I can hardly open it. My sinuses are draining. I've got this weird thing happening in my right ear. Like I've got fluid in my right ear. I think when I was laying on my right side, it was draining out my ear. When I blow my nose, it's like it squeaks, so I can't really blow my nose too much because it hurts. So fun. Yeah, and I was just thinking about cancer, and with Tim and his numbers, it's kind of like this constant, like it's constantly there. Is it going to rise? Like, is it going to show up again? And I feel like COVID is kind of that way in society. It's like, did I get it? Is it back again? Is it increasing again? I didn't know this. I should have done my research, but I wouldn't have changed my travel plans really. But New York is on the rise with COVID, and I think part of me going into the trip was just sort of like oblivious to COVID, honestly. It's been so long that I've not really had to like, I don't know, pay a whole lot of attention to that. It feels like it's been a background thing, and yet here it is. And Tim and cancer and his numbers are kind of like that. It's like we he starts to do well, and then it looks like he's really doing well, and then you kind of don't think about it as much, and then something happens. Like my daughter at school, in her social studies class today, they were talking about, or in her science class, we're talking about cells, talking about cancer cells, and how they rapidly increase in the body, and why they do that, and what's happening. And she said that it just really bothered her. And then all of a sudden when I have to close my eye because it hurts. She left her science class. She said nobody else really seemed to think anything of it, but she couldn't get it out of her mind because it just kept making her think about her dad. And then the rest of the day, it's like she was infected with these thoughts about cancer and Tim and all the what ifs. And then when she came home and realized that I had COVID, then the whole evening she was kind of obsessing about infection and his risk and what if he gets it, what if he gets COVID, and then what happens. And you know, and yet alongside of it, there's like these beautiful memories of this trip that I just had with my daughter. And it took some time to like pull those photos together and post them because I didn't want to forget about what an amazing trip it was. And you know, and then as I was laying here like hurting, my eye was hurting and I couldn't sleep and it was super uncomfortable, and I was thinking, shit, like Tim feels some degree of this all the time. Like his fingernails are falling off. His fingers are so sensitive. He's losing all of his fingernails. He's got to wear band-aids on them. It hurts to trim them. It hurts to do things like he wears gloves when he's washing dishes, or so that he doesn't snag a fingernail. You know, sleep at night is still hit or miss for him every night. Sometimes a medicine helps him sleep, and then sometimes it makes him feel groggy the next day, so he doesn't want to take it. And so it's this constant disruption, you know, and yet in the midst of the disruption, it's like we have these 2 kitty cats, and one of them was just up here on my bed, pruning herself, and in the dark, I was struggling a little bit because I just didn't feel comfortable at all. And she came over to me and just started like curling up close to me and then laying on me and kneading my legs. And she's very much a nurturer, and I could feel her just wanting to give comfort. And I think it's so amazing how these beings tune into us and can offer us this like level of care and nurturing that just kind of came out of nowhere, and I totally appreciated it. You know, I fill these roles of therapist and manager and coach, and I feel like I should know how to take care of myself better, you know, because I'm feeling depleted right now. But and my sister reached out to me and just said, there's, you know, I need to probably see a doctor for some things. And I feel like I've had good medical care this past year, but there's some things that I've kind of just like accepted and not pursued further just because I haven't had the energy for it. And she was kind of this silent, like, poke, poke, poke. What are you doing about this? And I said, nothing, like nothing. And she's like, you really need to be doing something about this. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I have a friend who's kind of doing the same thing with me. And my sister said, I can do some research for you. Like, I can find out who you can go to in your area. Tell me who your insurance is, and I'll do the research. And I feel like self-care in this moment is just to say yes. Like, yes, I'll take your help. Like, please do the research for me, because I don't have it in me to do it. Yeah, I'm just feeling like extremely human. And I know, like, in the past I was, I had a really regular, rich kind of spiritual practice where I meditated a lot and did a lot of deep inner work, that felt nurturing. And, there's this part of me that's like, oh, maybe if I were just like doing more of that, more in the realm of self-care and deep dives, I'd be navigating this better. But I feel like my approach has been to really just view this as like, this is a spiritual path. Like, navigating cancer with my husband, with my eyes wide open, my heart wide open, is a spiritual path. It is, and this is my practice. Part of my practice is just to speak openly and honestly about what these moments are like. And some of them are really hard. But in my life, when I was really intensively pursuing, deep inner spiritual work, there were moments that were really hard. And I think that's just like part of our life experience. It's not that it's, I think there's like hard that we can, moments that we can make really hard. And then there's moments that just feel, they just feel hard, because, it's just part of like the school that we're in. It feels like the school of life here on earth splays us open and, exposes us to like the deepest parts of ourselves. And I think part of that splaying open feels hard. I don't have a different word for it. It's stretching, it's expanding, it's deepening, it's, when I was, my first birth with Anna was, I think I was in labor for 3 days. And with our second, I decided to switch out the word pain to just like stretching, expanding, stretching. And it shifted something. It shifted like my resistance and allowed the birth process to go smoother because I wasn't fighting it. And I feel like, just being mindful of that right now is like, I want to change that word hard and open to different words that feel more reflective of what I value, which is expanding and opening and growing and stretching. Yeah. So if you're navigating cancer as a caregiver or as someone who has it yourself, it stretches you in so many ways, so many powerful ways. In our family, sometimes we talk about like before cancer, pre-cancer, and then after cancer. And it really has shifted something profound. I feel like in the way that cancer does that on an individual level, COVID has done that on a collective level. I think climate change is doing that on a collective level as well. You know, when we're all touched by the same experiences, it shifts something huge. And to fight that shift I think, prolongs the shift. So part of me just wants to say, bring it. Like, bring the shift, because surely there's a better place that we can get to, you know, individually and collectively. I really believe that. I believe that there's this beautiful place we can get to as a species that looks really different from where we've come from. And yeah. All right, so that's my late night reflection. Take from it whatever you want to. And thanks for just witnessing my journey and allowing me to speak to you in the midst of yours, wherever you are in it, in your journey of life. All right. Peace. Good night.